rising senior at Michigan State University. I'm currently majoring in environmental studies and sustainability with minors in leadership organizations and sustainable ag and food system. This summer, I changed being a Spartan to being a Gator as I was a part of the USDA REU program, and I worked in the McCune Lab, which is part of the Department of Environmental and Global Health. In the McCune Lab, I got a chance to work on a ton of different projects under Dr. Sarah McCune and Dr. Chante Tiwari. This summer, my main project was working on writing a paper about brain foods. This is a hot topic right now as food as medicine is a really big topic. There's also a push as cognitive health issues are increasing with our aging population. By doing this, it can also give us a chance to identify gaps within our knowledge, specifically in adolescence and also looking at animal-sourced food. There were 3 main sections of this paper focusing on identifying the brain foods. So what are the brain foods? How do they impact people across their lifespan? Everything from the first 1,000 days up to being elderly. And then what are the consumption patterns of brain foods globally? To do this, I spent a lot of time with my computer looking at sources on PubMed and Google Scholar, collecting them on Zotero, so I had a lot of literature to review. I also used things like Excel to keep track of what I was finding in these articles and later finding the consumption data as well. A lot of data came from the FAO, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, for their consumption. So food tables from them, and I put that into RStudio eventually to get a lot of figures used. So starting with kind of the base knowledge, we found 8 papers to learn, first of all, what are people calling brain food, what are good for brain health, and what's happening across the lifespan. After that, we dove into specific categories of each, so we could find more about the specific foods. Through there, I found about 35 papers. Through this search, I excluded papers that were focusing on diets, such as the Mediterranean diet or the DASH diet, or looking at specific nutrients. So if it was talking about a food but only looking at one nutrient in that wasn't something we were looking at. We were looking at the whole consumption of the food. After that, I did a refined search going more in depth. So if previously I looked at nuts, we are now looking at walnuts. If we were looking at seafood, we're now looking at salmon. So going more in depth and also looking into those gaps. So looking at how it impacts adolescence or pregnancy. This is a spread of how we got all these articles. Then looking into consumption of brain foods by region, these graphs split into continents, but also by some sub-regions such as Central America or Southeast Asia. Some of the patterns that you can see are some of the global south having lower consumptions of these foods across the board. And this was important to see thinking about brain health and development in those countries as well. Not only did I get to spend a lot of time learning in the lab this summer, I got to spend a lot of time exploring with friends, growing my professional looks, and exploring the nature of Florida, whether that be at the bat houses, exploring with gators, or seeing turtles and lizards literally everywhere. I am so grateful for all the friends I made during this summer and cannot wait to explore these connections as we move on in our careers. I also want to give a big thank you to everyone who helped me, specifically Dr. Sarah McCune and Dr. Chante Tiwari, also Dr. Zinette Boss, Dr. Anna Martin, and Dr. Grady Roberts for the running of the USDA REU program. I also did the University of Florida for funding the SURF-REU program, the USDA for funding the USDA REU program, and of course, Michigan State University for giving me the base education to be able to experience things like this to the fullest.